at this point, after I've made that call and gave them that information and was told they would get back to me, 2 weeks goes by and I hear nothing from them. I call them, I email them, and the people I ask for are either not in the office or whatever reason they can't speak with me. I don't get my calls returned. I don't get my emails returned. And, more time went by. Then a little later, since I've stayed in contact with the postal inspector, the special agent, the investigator, I found more and more information. And then we come to the point to where the postal employee that was suspected of stealing these packages, this substitute on her substitute routes, was given a chance to confess in exchange for immunity. Now, this is where everyone gets their own ideas now. Now, first, the person that stole the package, the postal employee, she is not important. The fact that she stole the package does not make any difference. It could have been anyone stealing the package. It could have been someone taking it off the truck. It could have been lost. It could have been someone grabbing it out of her hands. That doesn't matter. She was at work and she was in the process of her duties, which makes her employer, the U.S. Postal Service, the responsible party. Now, it is their prerogative to either go after her or to not go after her. But in the eyes of the law, as she was in the performance of her duties, her employer is responsible. It wasn't a violent crime. It wasn't a crime where anyone was hurt. So her employer is responsible. Now that takes me back to the beginning. If you remember, if you do not purchase insurance, you are agreeing to not hold them liable for your package if it is lost or stolen, which is the same as lost. And you are agreeing to that once you send out the package. Now, the receiver, whoever you're sending the package to, they have no say in the matter. The contract is between the sender and the post office. That is where the contract begins, and that is where it ends. If I didn't receive a package and it was even fully insured, I still couldn't file a claim. The sender would have to file a claim. So that is has nothing to do with the receiver of the package or the person that didn't get who it was going to. So because Apmex did not use registered and insured mail and sent it at the cheapest possible rate and did not insure it, they gave up liability in exchange for a cheaper rate to send the package. Now, that is where it comes back to their coverage. They agree to take on the liability with their own insurance company because they gave up, they freed the post office from theirs by not purchasing the insurance and using their own insurance. So they are telling you that we are responsible for your package until you receive it. Now, fast forward way ahead. I've been in contact with the postal inspector repeatedly. I come to find out that the day I gave Apmex all the information from the postal inspector and how to get in touch with them and the status of the investigation and everything, I have now learned that for whatever reason, I don't know how many times they called or if they called at all, but I know that because they did not get in contact with the postal investigator, in 3 days, they had ended my case. I don't know if they called the first day or the third day, but for whatever reason, because their claims department didn't speak with the investigator for 3 days, it was closed. Now, I didn't give Apmex some wild story and, some opinions and what I thought happened. I gave facts that were told to me. I gave interviews. I sent emails. I gave the contact information to 2 separate special investigators that I had no problem getting in contact with. I was in constant contact with them. It didn't take me 3 days, and I don't know how many times or if they called at all. And that was all it took, even though I gave them an incredible amount of evidence to use to just open. Remember, we're still talking about opening a claim, not approving or denying one, just to open it. And I don't know what happened. And remember, if you remember, I said weeks went by and I didn't hear anything from Apmex. So I decided to call them again. And of course, no one is there to take my call. And my calls aren't returned. My emails aren't returned. And so, it's disheartening at best. So I decided a couple weeks later to try one more time. And I finally get in contact with someone. It's even more times gone by. And this time I decided to give it one more chance because I had one more piece of information from the postal inspector. And at this time, remember, I had no idea that they had closed it because they didn't talk to him in 72 hours. So I give him that last piece of information that I had just learned 15 minutes before I called them. And this woman had the worst attitude I have ever come across with any person I've ever done business with. She had an attitude from the beginning. I told her what I was learning, and then she had the audacity to tell me with an attitude, why am I just telling them this now? And just like that, when every time I have called them within a half hour of me learning something, and that's above and beyond. That was right away. I let nothing slip, and I gave everything forward. And weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks have gone by at this point, and I've told them everything. And they never called me. They never emailed me about any status. They did not tell me that they had closed it after the 3 days. I'm still calling them. I'm still emailing them. So fast forward again. Now there is a new customer service manager. And after I had put the video up that I told you I was going to put the link to down in the description, this person commented on the video that from Apmex's account that they wanted to help, and this doesn't sound, like something they should have done, and so on and so forth, without knowing the facts. And I don't know this person. I don't know who's typing or whatever. So they then email, and I told them that from what I know of them and how they try to make themselves sound in the public in the comment section, that I know that to not be how they truly are. And so then I received an email on my YouTube email account that I have for the business purposes section and the about section. And they, this person, the customer service manager, had emailed me and said, he would like to look into this, and if I could give him my name and order number, because all they know is this is from Still Keeping One. They don't know who Still Keeping One is, or that that's me. But in actuality, they did know that, because I emailed him back and I gave him my information, and he said, "Oh, great, this is what I was looking at before you emailed me." So he did know of the situation. I don't know how long he knew that or what. All I know is when I emailed him, he was aware of the situation and what order it was and who I was. So I talked with him, and he says that he does not know why this happened, but that he is new and he's only been there for 2 weeks, and that he wants to work this out with me, and he wants my package sent to me right away. So he said, and I'm new, we're working on our customer service, and, that's why they brought me in, because I know what I do, and I've been doing it for 25 years. And believe me, he told me enough that of him being in it for 25 years. There's no way I could possibly forget as many times as he told me. But, so, I tell him, okay, I'm glad to hear that. And, I'm just sorry that any of this wouldn't have come if I didn't, put into the public realm what your company has been doing. And then, and he says, well, if I would have, it wasn't the video, of course, and you can believe that or if you want, but he says, if I would have just called him, he would have had this straightened out right away. But of course, I did call countless number of times and email, and I wouldn't know they had a new customer service manager because, I beat him to death with emails and calls. So why all of a sudden I would have called them again? I don't understand why I would do that, but there would be no reason for me to do that. But he says, okay, I want to get this package out to you. This is not how we treat our customers. He's been in I believe him when he says he's been in customer service for 25 years because he sounds like it. Everything he says, it's happy, it's upbeat. It doesn't matter what you said to him. If you just listen to his side of the conversation, it's the best conversation you could have with a person. But, you put my side in there, it's a whole different, thing. That's what customer service is. That's how they are. But it's actually providing a good service for your customers is actually what good customer service is, not talking. So I get off of the phone with him, and at that point, it's okay. I'm sending this out to you. I'm sending the shipment out to you right away. Now, after we're off of the phone, I talked to him for at least probably 20 minutes. After we're off the phone, maybe, I don't know, a half hour later, I'm not sure exactly, I get an email saying, how are you doing? These are some standard documents that we need you to sign and send back. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me take that back. I said that I would make an update video about what we talked about and how he was going to send the package out and whatnot. So then he sends me the email saying, okay, this is a standard set of documents. We need you to sign them and send them back, and we'll get that out to you. So I said, okay, but we didn't speak about that in the video. I mean, not in the video. I'm sorry. We didn't speak about that in our phone call. So I will need to review those documents before I make any type of update video. And I thought that was fair. We had agreed, he was going to send the package and I was going to make an update video. And then, he changed that agreement. So I said, okay, I need to review these documents. So I don't receive any. I thought they were coming that day. Okay. They didn't come that day. They didn't come the next day. They didn't come the next day. They came the night of the third day. Now, I received the documents. They seemed fairly standard, except this wasn't a standard situation. So much time has passed that this is beyond standard. And the documents, one of the documents was a document saying the investigation with the Postal Service is completed, and you did not receive your package, which, it's no surprise. I knew that already. And I told them that many times before, and that this was not an approval of a claim, but they would be filing a claim. So this is not, over. This is the beginning. This is different from what he's been telling me. So I thought about it for a day, and then I was going to call him the next day, and instead he called me very early in the morning, and I returned his call a little later, and I talked to him about these documents, and I'm sorry, let me take that back. Before I called him back, he called me, and before I called him back, I called the person that sent me the email. That was someone different than him. And so I called and I asked for this woman, and the person said, okay, can I have your name and order number? And then she tells me, okay, I'll get her. Hold on. So I'm on hold for about 5 minutes now. That's not a problem. Okay, it's a big business. Fine. I'm on hold. Okay. Then she comes back on the phone and says, I'm sorry, I can't find the customer service manager. And I said, I did not ask for that person. I asked for this person. And then she says, okay, but he'll be available in about, and I said, excuse me. Can I talk to this person or not? It seemed like I was being shielded from talking to anyone else except him when I did not call for her, or for him, I'm sorry. And she goes, oh, okay, yeah, I'll do that for you. So I get on the couple minutes goes by, and of course it is the same woman that gave me the so much attitude from before. And she had the same attitude when she answered hello. You could just hear it in her voice. She already knew who she was talking to and what it was about. I'm sure she was angry that, I might have been getting my package, which has nothing to do with her. And I don't know why she would feel that way. But of course, that's just my opinion. Because if you don't like your job, get a new job. Don't take it out on me. You're in the claims department of a company that has claims. So you don't like it, work somewhere else. That's how I see it. You call it customer service when it's nothing like that. So I ask her, I say, so can you tell me the date a claim was filed in this case? And she gives me some story about, well, it takes different cases, different times and everything. And, there is a date on the top of the document you got. And I said, of course, I can see that. I'm not blind. I didn't say that to her, but of course, the first thing on the page is the date. I said, yes, I understand there's a date on there, but I would like to know the date the claim was filed. Because what I was told is I signed these documents and magically, my order is on its way. So then she says, well, it's a complicated, and I said, okay, I get what you're saying now. I get what you're trying to do. No claim has been filed. Am I correct? And she says, yes, that's correct, when she could have just said that immediately. So I said, okay, thank you for that. And she says, okay, well, the customer service manager is busy right now, but I can have him call you in half an hour or whatever. I said, okay, that's fine. So then that is the phone call where I found out, because he told me right then, and this is just yesterday, just yesterday is when I found out that at 3 days of not hearing from the postal inspector, they threw my case out. That is where I learned that. That was the first time, yesterday. And I asked him, I said, should there have been a claim filed in this case? And he said, well, there wasn't any postal insurance. I said, not a postal claim. And he says, and I'm real sorry your claim was denied. The customer service tongue rolls. I said, no, not a post office claim.